a board gets, the more important it gets to navigate smooth and easy without much effort between the sheets and the PCB. You have to keep an eye on nets, pins, ports, parts and power supplies. One of this way is the use of the navigator panel. With this panel you can browse in a table between the sheets and you can easily highlight parts, pins and nets in the schematic or the PCB. Another option is the cross-selection mode. This allows us to automatically select the components in the PCB when we click on the components in the schematic or vice versa. Due to that, we know exactly where the components from the schematic sheet is placed on the PCB. Same goes for nets and pins, of course. You can also combine these functions to navigate even more efficiently in your design projects. In this video, we show you the basic possibilities of the navigator panel and its combination with the cross-select mode. You can access the navigator panel in the schematic by the register entries, or if they are deactivated, over the menu Design Compiler, Navigator. With a compiled project you can now browse through your design. So we choose our schematic sheet and the placed components are listed along with the pins and the connected nets, all in only one table. In this way you can easily find any component by clicking in the panel and it will be automatically zoomed and also highlighted. You can browse through the complete project in flattened hierarchy or sheet by sheet if you want. As an example, I choose the component U2 and its net Y out. In the same way you can navigate in the schematic sheet with the navigator panel, you can also navigate in the PCB. But here the panel is called simply PCB panel and it looks slightly different because we have other functionalities in the PCB area, of course. But the main workflow is the same and you can also browse through the table with the components, pins and nets listed. You can activate the panel also over the tabs below. As an example, I select the net class LEDs and I click through the single nets. Notice how they are selected and highlighted. To keep an eye on both the PCB and schematic, Altium Designer offers the possibility of the cross-probing feature. With this you can click any item in the PCB like component, net or pad, and the corresponding part on the schematic side will be selected and highlighted. You can activate this feature over the menu Tools, Cross-Probe, and then choose any element you want. This is already a nice feature, but we can do it even better if we combine this function with the navigator panel. Therefore, we need to enable the so-called cross-selection mode in the schematic and the PCB. We can do that over Tools and then choosing Cross-Select mode. After that, we activate another option from the navigator panel, which shows us all connected components from the selected components with green lines. This is called the connective graph. So we go to the options of the navigator panel and choosing connective graph. We also change some settings of the navigator panel itself. We activate the selecting option and we also activate the zoom. With these options our components are now selected and zoomed if we choose it in the navigator panel. Now with the active cross-select mode and the new settings of the navigator panel, we can see very fast the elements from the PCB by clicking on one component on the schematic. With the hold down Alt key, the connective graph is showing up the directly connected components with a green line. This goes for the navigator panel as well as for the schematic itself. Now this settings becomes very powerful since many different functions in Altium Designer are starting with the selection of several components. For example, our Replace Selected Components command. Though this is a very easy way to accomplish that selection. I hope you liked that design secret and have fun in navigating through your design with Altium Designer.